Check one. Check one. Can you hear me?
Sure, I can see you in your one eye.
Oh, hang on. Hang on 1 second.
You didn't realize you were an alien?
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
A one-eyed
Uh,
alien.
okay. How about now?
Now you're a unicorn
And now?
and a bear.
Okay. Well, you've passed the test.
Pass the test.
You did it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I
Hey,
passed.
gang. Hey, gang. How's everybody doing?
Oh, it's
We're doing.
we're doing we're doing a
Jess,
thing.
Chris, nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you.
It's good to be seen. It's good to be
Yes,
seen. I'm
it
glad that
is.
we could get this. I'm glad that we could get on the same page. In
Right?
direct defiance of God's will, we made this happen, right? As like a music producer slash engineer and stuff, like one of my favorite gags, especially after like somebody just does like a stellar take, is like, oh, I wish I was recording that. And that's, usually like, what do you mean? And then they catch on. So if
Man,
you're
I'd be
ever in
so
that,
pissed. No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
Oh, it's happened before. Or, working on really shady gear and getting one of, the greatest takes that you could ask for and it being, flubbed in some way and having to go back and be like, I need you to do that again as perfectly as you just did.
Right? That's how it goes. Sometimes though, the best things come when things aren't being like recorded, and then you're like, dang, I wish I was recording that.
Yeah, I feel that for sure because I mean, especially too, I think that people act differently when they know that they're being watched or it's being documented.
Right.
I feel like and just coming off playing some shows back in September, we had really awesome video person out with us, and you know I said just kind of blend into the background and just try and get as much as you can because I think that that's definitely when you get the most realist and honest things from people. And we
Yeah.
can always, we can always cut footage and burn it and make sure that nobody sees things that they're not supposed to. But in terms of documenting, I feel it's the most honest way to get real reactions,
It's
right?
true. It's true. It's not a lie. But yeah, so thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I was super excited to see that Hit the Lights was, doing things again.
We back, baby. Scream it from the mountain.
I love when bands that I loved forever ago come back into the scene after being gone for so long. It's always so much fun.
Me too. First, I mean that's really sweet of you to say. But I feel that same excitement, and we just played some shows with Set Your Goals and with Punchline, and there's a lot of our friends are doing that, and I think that that is one of the funnest things about being able to come back is to hang out with people that you literally grew up with and be like, isn't this crazy that we still get to do this?
Hmm.
So no,
For sure.
it's so much fun. So thank you.
Yeah. I think the last time I saw you guys was back in '07, and
Okay.
that would be like
Okay.
Chicago at the Beat Kitchen.
Yes.
I think you still
Love
had
the
like a
Beat
fro
Kitchen.
back then.
Yes, that sounds right. '07. We were probably touring on Skip School Start Fight. Or no, I'm sorry. This is Stick Up, Don't Make It a Murder. And in '07, do you remember who we played with at Beat Kitchen?
I do not. I'd have to
Yeah,
look it up. I'd have to
I'd
look it
have to.
up. Maybe
I
Chris can sleuth it or something.
No, no, no.
No,
Do you
no
know how long it
sleuthing.
took me to find out the tour they were on when they came through Syracuse? No, I'm not gonna.
Oh my gosh. No, I mean, in '07, it might have been like As Tall as Lions and maybe I Am the Avalanche might have been on that.
It might
We'll
have
have,
been them. It might have been them.
we'll have
That
to
seems like
check.
it could have been familiar.
But like, I mean, in that time, we probably played Beat Kitchen a couple to a few times that year, if I had to guess. But I love that venue, man. Is it still on? Is it still
I
open?
think so. Yeah, they still do shows there.
Cool.
I haven't
Yeah.
been to one in forever, but
Yeah. The thing, I mean, I definitely remember playing that place like in the middle of summer where it just felt like, like a sauna. And one of the funnest things about that stage is that like you have to walk through the crowd to get to the stage. There's
Mm-hmm.
no like green room, like backstage type thing. And just like, trying my best not to expire before the show and getting to the stage and being like winded already.
Right.
you know? But no, that's awesome. We're gonna be back in Chicago actually coming up here soon.
I
So
know. I'm gonna be probably hitting up the Milwaukee show though, since I'm from that area.
nice, nice, very cool, very cool.
So
And
I'll
Chris,
be.
you are in Syracuse
Yeah,
still?
I'm in Syracuse, and the last time I saw you guys, I was what, '06. According to the research that I did,
Anberlin? Was
receiving
Anberlin?
receiving End of Sirens with
Okay.
I Am the Avalanche.
Hell yeah.
And you played a venue called the Furnace, which was a small stage in a church,
Okay.
and
Okay.
the stage was like back in the corner. It was like 250 cap, I think.
I love it.
Um,
I love it. Those are still my favorite rooms.
Yeah. I wonder if you remember after the Beat Kitchen show, uh, I was friends with this one girl, and I think you guys were friends with her, and we went over to her apartment afterwards, and there was like a telephone ripping contest happening in her living room.
Was that our friend Kim?
It might have been. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I just remember I have pictures of like telephone stuff like all over the ground.
Yeah, no, that sounds so right. Oh my God. I mean, there's just, yeah, God bless Kim, man, because she would just have so much fun watching us destroy her apartment. And just, we had some of the most beautiful and craziest times in Chicago. And it's definitely, there's a lot of places that we consider, our second and third homes, and Chicago is definitely one of them. It was definitely the first skyline that we drove up on as a band, and I remember thinking like, oh, this is wild, like we've made
Yeah.
it, Um, but no, that's yeah, there's tons of crazy times in Chicago.
Yeah.
So that's neat. So you're gonna come up to Milwaukee. That'll be fun.
Yep. Hopefully it's not going to sell out, or maybe it will. I better buy my ticket soon.
Even if it does, you know a man on the inside. So
This is
just let
true.
us
This
know,
is
and
true.
we've got guest lists, and definitely don't have as many friends as we used to. So I think we're looking to fill those spots. So please come hang out.
Well, I mean, I'm all for it if you're willing to put me on the list.
Oh
So,
yes, consider it done. Just as you know, send me like 5 reminders.
no worries. I got you. I got
Thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, Kirsten, we'll let you know, and we're up in your neck of the woods. But for right now, um, yeah, we're gonna be playing some shows around the city coming up next year. But as far as upstate, I'm not
I was
quite
going to
sure.
say, you don't want to travel to upstate in the wintertime
Not in the
anyways.
winter. No, stay the heck out of here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
No,
don't
I
even want
know,
to be
man.
here.
I mean, two of the guys in our band are from Rochester, so which different area. I know a lot of people outside of the state will consider it all kind of anything that's not New York City, upstate, but we spent a lot of time over there, and just the fact that you guys can put up with that stuff is, you're made of steel for sure.
So only because you mentioned Rochester, have you had a garbage plate?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Of course, man. It's having two guys in the band, and they're like, first time hanging out there with them. It's like, what do you mean you've never had a garbage plate? And then you go there and you see what it is, and you're like, this is the hype. This is like, this is it. And then you try it and you're like, okay, I get it. I totally get it.
Well, I've never had a garbage plate, but maybe sometime if I
What are you
come to
doing
the
with your
area.
life? What are you
I don't
doing with your
know. I don't know what I'm doing with
Come
my
on,
life.
come out and visit. We'll do all the upstate New York foods that
Oh
you can
man,
have.
that I can
All the
have, yes.
gluten-free ones, yeah.
I'm curious as to like what some other upstate New York touristy things would be that you would take people to go see.
To see or food-wise? Because food,
You
I
know,
got an endless list.
I
But
put it I put it all together.
so food, definitely like some original buffalo wings in Buffalo, obviously.
Anchor Grill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I hope the rest of this podcast is just strictly
I mean,
food
we've had
based.
lots of food conversations
yeah, we do.
before.
We've gone like complete end of the spectrum. We've gone food to the other end. It comes out, and we talk about like toilets and bidets way too often.
No, I
Um,
was I was catching some of the story of the year. interview and
Oh, how
interesting
we started that
conversations
one?
about hygiene, and I appreciate that. you know,
Yeah,
learned a
no, we
lot.
like to keep everything in our conversations because, that's life. That's what we talk about. It's real
Yeah,
life.
it is. It is. Let's get freaking real.
But yeah, but other than that, like chicken riggies, which you just asked me what a couple of weeks ago what those were, Jess, I
I think I
think.
did.
Chicken riggies. I don't know. I got some places.
It's
Yeah.
got some places.
All right. Well, now you've got a great reason to show up as if hanging out with Chris wasn't enough. So
Yeah, he can show me around the place. I've been to Buffalo, but that's about it.
We kind of sort of hung out once on accident, but just didn't know it.
Yeah, we were at
huh.
Buffalo Warp Tour together and didn't even know it because we've never met in person, and people are always like crazy. They're like, "What?"
Yeah. So is this like a message board thing? Were you guys like on
MySpace. We were MySpace friends originally. Yep. Good old
MySpace.
MySpace
I'm
days.
I'm using quotes,
gosh.
MySpace.
No,
MySpace.
listen, that MySpace was everything for us. I remember we made it like on the front page of MySpace. And it was a big push for us. And I remember being super excited and then like going to check like our messages. And for every like positive message there was like really angry ones that were like they were all the same too. They were like, "You guys sound nothing like Metallica," and they must have thought that like being called "Hit the Lights," we were like a Metallica tribute act or something. So yeah, no, we know that world very well.
Yep. Speaking of that world, 2006, April 2006 is when Don't Make It a Murder album came out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there any chance you guys are thinking of doing a 20-year anniversary tour next year for that? Or some shows?
Maybe. Um, yeah, we're actually in the middle of trying to figure out routing and where we're gonna be for that, and it's coming together. Yeah,
Yep,
it's
everyone's going to be excited to hear there's going to be something for a 20-year. I'm excited to hear that.
it's gonna be fun for sure. No, and it's gonna be really funny. I'm sure that like this is a conversation that you're having with like a lot of people that you're chatting with. Like checking out the Hidden in Plain View interview that you guys did, and you guys were talking about that stuff. But for like a milestone like that, when feeling like it was just yesterday, it's the trippiest thing in the world. But one of the things that I could relate to, like hearing Joe and Nick talking about that stuff was like we had to play songs that like we never played before, and I'm just, yeah, that's gonna be like fun rehearsals and stuff to try and pick apart, some of that stuff. But I mean, honestly, like trying to relearn some of the songs off of our Summer Bones record, like I would go to YouTube and like watch like kids covering the songs and being like, "Oh, that's how they do it." And they actually like doing it like very nonchalantly, like shredding it like way harder than like we ever could, you know? So maybe that's something that we'll have to do is jump on there and see if there's any guitar covers or for the songs that we hadn't played. But
I'm sure there are.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
And speaking of that album, one of Jess and my's favorite songs is Body Bag. Can you tell us the inspiration behind that song?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Um, that's such a funny song, right? Because there's like this very like tongue-in-cheek kind of like aggro thing going on for it, and set on the backdrop of like a really just pop forward tune. It's like, we thought that it was hilarious. But, the intention of it actually comes from like real places of feeling like let down and like betrayed by, people that, you think are like your friends. And, you hear that thing. And at that age too, especially, like you're very reactive to stuff like that. So it's like, I'm going to take you down the best way I know how. And it's, with, these sharp ass hooks and, saying that if I see you in a parking lot, you're going down. So, I mean, that's, essentially like a lot, a lot of like the music, especially in the early days, kind of came from that place where it's like, what's a funny way like we can actually take like these feelings and kind of process them. And I feel like Body Bag is a real perfect example of that.
Yeah. I feel like Body Bag was definitely a fan favorite. Did you guys think it would be such a hit?
Man, I mean, every like accomplishment just came as like a surprise, you know? So like at the like you know the intention of so much from back then, and I mean even now too, doing it again is just trying to get like a rise out of your buddies, you know, and like trying to get like a rise out of ourselves and do something, you know, that makes us kind of giggle first and foremost. And I think that, you know, that everything else is just kind of the icing on the cake, you know. But there was probably a point in the band where it was just like, oh, you know, like we are just so much more than this song. And then it was just like, you know, get over yourself. And you have to, you know, I think about my favorite bands and, you know, the songs that, you know, maybe some bands that'll go unnamed for now, but would say, oh, we're not playing that one. You know, it's like, this is something that you created that people are reacting to. You have to like soak that in. So, you know, I think that was very short lived. And, you know, now just seeing the reaction to it still is just mind blowing. So we love it. We love it. And there's a whole generation of people that have no idea about it that are like finding out about it too, which is
Sure.
really trippy. And they find the humor in it as well, or they can relate. So
It's a very relatable song even now.
yeah, we keep saying, especially like writing new music, it's like, okay, you know, I think it's time for Body Bag 2 and trying to figure out how like, you know, we rewrite Body Bag and, you know, maybe call it like toe tag or like, you know, explore like, you know, just like the different kind of morgue themes that we could come up with, you know. So yeah, so stay tuned for Body Bag 2 on the next HDL LP. So
It's interesting you mentioned like those kind of songs that bands like refuse to play. Every once in a while, I get the urge to like search obscure things about music, and one of the ones I did recently was like fan favorite songs that bands hate playing.
oh, that's cool.
And I was so I'm gonna say validated to have one of my least favorite songs also be hated by the band that everyone else loves, which is Wonderwall. Cannot stand that song. So I was extremely
I
happy to
love
see that the band
Wonderwall.
hates playing it. And apparently, like the US is the one, like the market where it took off the most.
Oh, I can
Yeah.
definitely think that that would be it. Us
Yeah,
and
yeah.
us here definitely love that song.
No, for sure. And I mean, like, I'm trying to think, you know, for Oasis fans, when it came out, they were probably like, what is this? Like, what are you guys trying to do? Like, you guys selling out now? Um, which is funny because I remember when Oasis premiered, I grew up like watching MTV like religiously. And when something premiered, they had like a MTV News like update thing and like would have like a little interview with like the band before they showed the video. And I specifically remember them, I think the song was Live Forever by Oasis. And the two of them were sitting there, you know, just as smug as they are now, literally saying that they want, you know, that they're going to be bigger than the Beatles. And I was just like, these guys, come on, get out of here. But no, that's so funny. So you're saying that Oasis wouldn't play Wonderwall, or they were just begrudgingly like,
Begrudgingly.
okay. But I feel like their whole set's begrudged. Is that proper grammar? Played begrudgingly. So
Love it. Yeah, I just felt validated.
yeah. What else is on
And
that list?
I can't remember. It's all the songs you would expect the
Yeah.
bands to hate playing that were like super huge number ones.
Yeah.
But now like of course I just keep getting force fed random news articles that are like
About
obviously
Oasis?
clickbait thing. No, oh God, no. I would destroy Google for feeding that to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll look for that article.
No, that's cool. I was just doing some deep digging because like growing up listening like to hardcore and stuff, they're like you know, bands that would write self-titled songs like, you know, like Minor Threat, or like they'd name check themselves like in the song, like, you know, And I was, I've been thinking like how funny that would be for us to write like a Hit the Lights self-titled song. So I was going down a rabbit hole of other bands' self-titled songs to see, what they're made of and like, how they tick and stuff. So I definitely love going down those different rabbit holes as well.
Now,
So
now a self-titled song on a self-titled album.
oh, I mean that's pinnacle, right? Like that is like that's it. I'm pretty sure that's the nexus of the universe. Some kind of portal opens up when you do that.
Now, skipping ahead to your 2008 record, Skip School Start Fights, what inspired or helped cultivate the song Drop the Girl?
Yeah, so that was an idea that Nick came up with, and again, it was something that was just kind of like made us giggle, like, and I remember giving him like it's like, yeah, it should be like drop her from like, like the highest building or drop her from something like just so that there's that, that kind of hook connection and stuff. And again, a very much like with Body Bag, it's a very tongue-in-cheek type thing, but comes from a real place, of feeling betrayed and heartbroken by somebody that you expect more out of. So yeah, that's another one that definitely fits on that list.
It's another relatable song, Chris. It's so still relatable now.
Mhm.
I mean, everyone can relate to heartache, so and heartbreak.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that,
That
one
never
of
gets
the
old.
yeah, people are going to be in love and have problems for, all of human existence. So I think it's just kind of in what way do you frame it to, I think, the first step as a songwriter, it's like it's got to come from like a real place. At least it did for us, and then kind of secondary is like this framing or whatever like this hook is going to be or whatever this gimmick is that you're able to kind of attach to the song. But I feel like all of our songs that came from that real intention, that real place, and
Yeah.
still doing that. So luckily.
So yeah, you guys worked on the 2008 album with Rob Freeman, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who is the guitarist of Hidden in Plain View?
Yeah, I know. I was very upset that he didn't take part of the interview, but seeing Joe and Nick was still really cool. And actually, Hidden in Plain View has a lot to do with any kind of success that the band had achieved simply because our good friend Anthony, who was copied on the emails that we were on, was booking shows, and he was friends with our label owner out of Toledo, and they had like this sister cities thing happening where like Anthony would send his bands from his label to play shows in Ohio, and Joe would send his bands to like New Jersey, and Joe hit up Anthony and got us an opening slot on Hidden in Plain View CD EP release party. And that is really like, I put that moment, one of the top things that kind of pushed our band over the edge. And it was such a beautiful, cool experience. Not only, meeting bands that like we're still friends with, even if it's like individuals, if that band isn't still together. But I just remember this crowd reacting to us like, in this super unnatural way. And, the next time that we played, it was the same thing, but amplified a little bit more. And it kind of just grew from there. But I would definitely put that band, as one of the reasons. And, I think that we were just probably like a favor to them. They had no idea who we were. And it's just like, Anthony's like, I want to put this band from Ohio. They're like, I don't know, whatever, But for us, it meant the world to us. And, we got to meet our good friend Rocky that played in this band, Kick Over the Traces, and now for shows that our guitar player Kevin can't make it out to, Rocky fills in, and he said like he was there when we were recording the new tunes with Rob Freeman again. Um, and he's like, that like we have known each other for 20 years, and the only reason that I know that is because I'm having my 20-year high school reunion, and the way I met you guys was at my high school graduation party. I was running late, and I got there, and Anthony must have been like trying to keep you guys busy, so like he took you guys to my high school graduation party, and you guys were like sitting and eating potato salad with like my nona, and like that's like I was just like, oh my God, all these memories just kept like like rushing back and stuff, and it's like that the wildest thing is it literally felt like it could have been last week. So
It's
where's
funny
the
how that
time go?
goes sometimes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing though.
Yeah, I just
Cheers
had
to Rocky's nona. This is I was gonna say this is for my homies that couldn't make it to the party, but I don't know if she has passed on yet, so I'm not gonna say that. We're just gonna cheers her.
Cheers, Nona.
I was gonna say I just had my 20-year high school reunion last year. It's crazy how it feels like so much time has gone by and also none
Yeah.
has gone by.
My 20-year happened and I didn't go, so
Who
No, I
needs it? I mean, like all the people that you'd want to see you're probably still in touch with, right?
it's
So
true.
I did want to jump back real quick. Since we're talking about our favorite songs, hit the light songs. I was gonna say hit Coast to Coast is one of my favorites, and this is the last song I'll ask you for some insight to. What went into writing that?
hey, I mean, just whatever you got, man. We're in it to win it, right? So keep it coming. Um, that one, it's so funny because it's like, at that point we had been a band for a while, and had really got to go out and experience touring for everything that it was, and not just in the US but overseas, and it just really kind of cemented one of the major intentions that kind of got us up and going, which was to be able to do that and see that. So I feel like really it's the best kind of you know ode that we could have paid to this thing that we knew that we were going to love. And a lot of that too was done before we were signed, before like we had any kind of legit representation. We just kind of self-booked shows and self-released material and self-managed ourselves, and made really badly printed merch that people still wear to shows, where it's like completely, faded and like, um, and I think that it was just a way of kind of telling that story. It's just like, man, this is exactly what we signed up for, and we're loving it. We love the people reacting to it too. So it was as much to, the people that follow us as well that kind of came up with us to kind of give them a little insight to that.
Yeah. Now, I want a little more insight because, Rob Freeman, he helped produce your 2008 album, and now he's also helped produce your most recent EP now that just came out this last Friday.
Yeah.
How was it working with him, and how has it been received so far since it's come out not too long ago?
Yeah, so, being fans of Hidden in Plain View, um, and then finding out that, like some of the stuff that Rob had like recorded, and we initially met him, outside of playing shows. We got together to record some demos for what was going to be the next record. Um, and went to a studio, and we actually recorded demos for Drop the Girl and Stay Out, which is also on Skip School Start Fights. And there was just something very natural about hanging with him that just felt like, you know, like he just kind of was like a dude that like we'd known forever, and I feel like in that kind of environment that could be very vulnerable to have somebody like that just kind of makes it feel seamless and makes it feel easy. That's like the type of people that you want around. And then our original singer Colin had left the band, and we were trying out different people. We were like writing music. We ended up in Philadelphia to record some demos. And when Rob found out we were over there, he was like, if you guys have anything else that you guys want to do, you guys should come over. And we shot over to his new place, which is like a small hill town called Boonton, pronounced Booton, and checked out his new place and put down a cover of the song called "The Warrior" by a band called The Scandal, and just again like really loved the experience. And we had decided right then, it's like we want to make a full length. What do you got going on? And luckily he didn't have anything better to do. And yeah, and that's the rest is history. And he's just kind of been like family for us. And did a lot of singles and EPs and things throughout the years. So when Nick and I and our bass player Dave got together, and we were just kind of, it was like our first foray into like writing new music. And we were just kind of talking about what we wanted to do with it. Part of the conversation, since Nick is a really accomplished producer, and I'd been producing for a while, and it was like, well, we can just do it ourselves. And I kind of spoke up, and I was just like, man, like we deserve to be like pampered, like not having to worry about being all sides of it, writing, recording it, producing it, but also too just be like really cool to kind of have that spark of reliving that time. And I feel like there's going to be a little bit of magic to it, and there really was. Like there's some like this bond that we share with that dude. And luckily, like a lot of the people that we worked with, that just it feels very natural, and it feels very the just the right environment that we want to be in when doing something like this. And I'm
Yeah.
really glad that it all worked out. Again, I'm glad that he had nothing else better to do. So
Well, I feel like it would be nice. It's nice too to have like that outside ear. Like
yeah,
you guys don't want to produce your own stuff sometimes, because you guys hear it differently, or you're going to be more of a perfectionist on stuff. So it's nice to have that outside person.
it's nice because yeah, they definitely serve as like the arbiter, or like they're
Hmm.
like they're this like tiebreaker or something, or like the voice of reason when things can get a little like murky. And I do also feel now, though, now that we're a little older and we're a little wiser, just part of, one of my favorite things about us being able to get together and collaborate again is a lot of that ego is kind of, swapped away, and the communication is better and stuff. So it's like where, like, we would need somebody to be dad and be like, hey, best idea wins in the room. Now I feel like we're able to have a lot of that conversation together and get there, together on the same page. But it's always fun to hang with people that we love. And, it's, uh, in Rob's case, it was just like, yes, here it is. Here's, somebody that's grown up with us, and they are, um, their footprint's definitely going to be a part of this thing. So it was a blast.
Y'all can continue. I will be right back. Sorry.
He
No
has to take
worries.
care of something quick, he said.
Well, I was wondering, it's like, well, what if I need to like pee or like use the bathroom?
I
And
mean, you're a
what
dude, so I
happens?
mean,
Like,
for all I know, you could pee while on camera and I wouldn't
I
even
just got a
know.
bucket. I just got a
I mean,
bucket
you never
sitting
know.
underneath here, and
Or a
yeah,
big old bottle, a jug, or something. I don't know.
yeah. I'm
Sometimes I
wearing I'm
wish I
wearing
was a dude.
diapers. I'm
I wish
wearing
I was a
diapers
dude
right now,
sometimes, especially on a long road trip and there's no bathroom in sight.
and that is the only perk. Straight
I
up,
mean, probably.
it really is. It's the only one.
Or having better upper arm strength just
Yeah,
because I'm a dude. I'm always asking the guys at work, hey, can you lift this for me? Because you definitely were born with better arm strength than me. And yeah, I don't work out. So
well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe
maybe,
maybe lift a weight here and
maybe.
every now and then.
Now I am curious too. Like the new EP Tomorrow is Gonna Hurt just came out on Friday.
Yes, it
Now, for
did.
anyone who hasn't heard any of the songs from it, or has heard like one or two, or nothing at all, like I said,
Mhm.
what could you tell people about the EP?
Just, banger after banger. It is unrelentless. The hits just keep freaking coming. Um, no, it's four songs, from a band that, grew up living a very crazy life together, that individually like went and lived their own lives and were able to kind of come back and create something that made them very excited. And I think that that was the goal,
Hmm.
kind of harkening back to the inspiration of like the older songs. It was like, let's get together and let's see what we have, and let's see if that thing is there, and if it is, cool, then we'll get to the next thing, which is documenting it and recording it. And if that's cool, if we're happy, then let's get to the next thing, which is releasing it. And for us, it was just kind of like, let's see what happens. And came out of it so happy and so proud and feeling like we're just scratching the surface. So yeah, these are four songs that, we love as much as anything else that we've kind of released, and very excited to kind of, reconnect with people that maybe have lost touch with us or grew up with us, which, first off, shame on them for losing track.
Right?
But no, it's actually, we're really, really blessed to kind of, have people stay up with us for as long as, we'd been inactive, but also kind of creating something that we feel also is like, kind of modern and of the times. And for us, that's we're just super proud of that, to kind of be able to hold our own still in this day and age. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
I
it's
definitely,
it's
I definitely know, I think that the new songs definitely play homage to the older songs as well.
oh yeah, no,
Like you guys are
there's,
still the same hit the lights sound, just, elevated now, you know?
yeah, that's, and we didn't know how it would turn out. And the fact that there's kind of like, these little nods towards like the records that we've made and stuff, even within a song, it could have vibes from, a couple of the, the different places that we've been. There's, it's really cool because it's like we're inspired by ourselves almost,
Right.
like, which I don't know if that sounds super
Hey,
egotistical, but
you find your inspiration wherever you can, right?
exactly, exactly. That's the truth.
And actually, now that you're talking about like inspiration, I was actually curious like how your musical influences over the years have changed and evolved since you've grown. You know, you were younger back then, now you're older. You're a first-time dad, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yeah, no, and I mean, that's one of the trippiest things to, affect my creativity and my output and things. But yeah, I think that we all have and had inspiration from different places, and it was just kind of like, putting it in this like framing, but I would say that, the thing that affected like my contributions the most, I think, had been were directly affected by me producing artists in a lot of genres outside of pop punk. And I think that, even outside of just rock music. And it was always something that I was looking forward to do, because, when people kind of expect one thing out of your band, some people feel like there's, you owe them that thing, to keep giving them the thing that you come back for. So one of the things I was really looking forward to was being able to work outside the genre. And in this cool full circle moment, it's like, and through doing that, you just realize that music is music, and just kind of what's important is what's the song actually trying to say, and how does it say it, and how does it connect with people. And then everything else is just kind of like this backdrop to it. So I'd say that, you know, we'd always been into crazy things that had nothing to do with the genre, but I feel like the older that you get, like the more like you're able to kind of figure out how those things play into your inspiration and into your output.
Chris is back, if you
I am
didn't
back.
notice.
And he's better than ever,
Super
baby.
fast. Kids, I tell you, right?
How many? How many?
I've got two. I've got a 6-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Oh my gosh. Fantastic.
There's a big age gap between his two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's perfect, man. You figured it out because I mean, like the 15-year-old can just take care of the 6-year-old, right?
Oh, you would
Like,
think,
Yeah.
but
Wow, stole my thunder on that one, Jess. Yeah. You would for the most part that
yeah.
opportunity is there, but also like any siblings, they may as well have been twins and
Yeah.
just arguing all the time. Polar opposite personalities, but yeah,
But you're making it work.
making it
somehow.
work.
Yeah. That's all you can do. That's all you can freaking do, man.
The things you have to look forward to, Omar, as
Oh
your
yeah.
your child gets older.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's the trippiest thing that's ever happened. And, I never really wanted kids. Like growing up, it wasn't like something that I was just like, man, I can't wait to be a dad. It was never that thing. And then, I met my wife and I'm like, okay, you are a fantastic person. And, if we can have more people that are like you and I don't do anything to screw up the contribution of that, then that would make me very happy. And yeah, it's so wild too now because just like backstage, like you want to talk about like the differences between, now and then, now it's like a daycare, in like the green room where like 20 years ago it'd been like, whose irresponsible parents brought a baby to a rock show, or like, but it's a beautiful thing. I remember we played the Four Chord Festival pre-show a couple years ago, and it was Nate, our drummer's first time for his kids watching him play, and they were all like sitting like to the side of him, and I remember playing and like looking over at them, and they're looking at him like he's freaking Superman. They're like, why have we had Clark Kent this whole time? Like, like this dude, where's this guy been? And it was a really beautiful moment. And to be able to have that thing, is another layer of motivation to be able to do this.
Yeah.
It's like for us, to show, not just our kids, but, kind of anybody that, cares, that if you actually, care about something, it's worth pursuing. And, like, to be able to have that thing around is like really cool energy that I don't think any of us would have expected. Like,
Well,
Any
I was gonna say
go.
we were all in our like early to mid 20s, back in the early 2000s and all that. So it's like
yeah,
we've grown up with the band people in bands, like they were our age in bands and now we're all like in our 40s or close to it. It's crazy to think that. And everyone's got families.
yeah,
So it
no,
is fun
it's
seeing some of the kids on stage or be coming out on stage and doing something with one of their, parents who
or
are
fans
playing
coming
music.
to the shows with their kids,
Yeah,
like that's like another thing that was just like
there were a
super
lot of kids at
wild.
Warped Tour
Like,
over the last weekend because I went to Orlando Warped Tour. There were a lot of kids.
yeah, no, that's neat. And I think, one of the coolest things about whether it's social media or just like the internet now is that there's ways of kind of climbing back and finding out about things that would have been less easy to get to, I guess.
Right.
So say what you will about TikTok and about all of the shitty things that come along with social media, but like the fact that kids are kind of or just people in general are able to breathe new life into artists and songs that deserve it is to me one of the coolest things about this age. So
Do you think any of that will impact, let's say, either like the creative process or even weasel its way into the inspiration or?
Well, I think for those people, just the fact that there are whole new worlds that can kind of get opened up to them that they wouldn't have known about, I think is just so cool because, you know, I had two older sisters. One of them worked at a record store. You know, they were 10 and 13 years older than I was. So, I mean, a lot older than, you know, um, you would think that a little kid would be paying attention to that type of stuff, but it really did, like affect me in like a really cool way where if I wouldn't have had that, I wouldn't have, I just would have kind of stopped at Green Day, like my, sister, God bless her, was just kind of like saw me getting into this thing and she was like, cool, well, if you like that, then you should check out this band Jawbreaker, and would make me like tapes of stuff so like I wouldn't have the liner notes so that my parents wouldn't find like things like in my room, be like, what the hell is this? Why are you listening to, X, Y, or Z? Which was funny because, growing up into, this scene at like a really early age, I would let friends borrow those records. And, after buying, after being at the age to be able to buy CDs and stuff, and, the next day at school, like they'd be like, dude, I'm so freaking grounded. Like my mom found that Propaganda record and she like went through and like read every lyric to me and asked me what I thought that meant. And it's like, if you're like 12, 13 years old, those are like heavy, big concepts. You're like, I don't know. I like I like the way they play guitar and I like the way they sing. But it's a really funny thing that makes me think about what my son is going to be into, that I'm going to be like, what the hell is this garbage? Um but then I'll also be able to like remind myself like, what it is that I came from, and hopefully have a little bit of grace and understanding. I don't know, how's that with the 15-year-old?
Um, he was interesting. He started off, well, first of all, we had like there was like a jukebox you could put an iPod on when he was very small. And I mean, we would play like Yellow Card when he went to sleep. That's what he slept to.
Very cool.
He diverted greatly, the classic, like, I don't want to be what into my parents are into,
Yeah.
and was very, very into pop music, Ed Sheeran, all that stuff. And about 3 years ago or so, maybe 2 years ago, he asked me about a random song that I was playing in the car. The heck if I remember what it is now. But I told him, and he slowly started liking it. I think he found A Day to Remember, 4 Year Strong, and then like it grew from there, Stand Atlantic, and now he's into it and he goes to shows.
Yeah.
So like we're going actually what, this Friday, so Black Friday in Buffalo, there's the All Time Low with 4 Year Strong
Yes.
tour going, so he's going to that.
That's so
Um
cool. That is so
yeah.
neat,
So it for a while I was worried because honestly, I'm not hating on any kind of music, but I pop music is not for me.
I'm worried about my nephew. He liked rock music originally, but now that he's been hanging out in the locker room with his hockey buddies, they listen to rap all the time. So now he's like diverted to rap, and I'm like, it's not like the good old school rap, you know?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't know. I don't know. The lyrics these days in new rap is just not as good as it used to be.
But hasn't like the genres of like, or like the boundaries between genres kind of like, blurring a little bit? So it's
A little
like,
bit.
A
like
lot.
there's like different elements of everything and everything. So it's like, if there's I feel like people are going to be less hard and fast about the rules of what they like and what they don't like, and
Yeah.
again, just kind of having access to so many different things. Um, I hope in your nephew's case that will affect them positively.
Yeah, I mean, everything's blending. I mean, like there's Black Bear, right? He does emo rap, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
Royale Lynn who does like metal country. I mean, there's
There's no real like strict genres anymore. We've
yeah.
had
I
this
know.
conversation a lot of
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
I know. You guys, this great debate of like untainted emo, I feel was the conversation that I got from you guys.
Oh, and we were talking about whether or not emo is really even emo anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
even when it started, though, I mean, like I think that it was such like a blanket, you
Term.
know, term for bands that were doing, way different things that, was not even coming from the same place. I mean, I also think about that in terms of like punk rock and CBGBs, and a band like the Ramones didn't sound like a band like Blondie, that didn't sound like a band like the Talking Heads, that didn't sound like the Dead Boys, and it's easy for people to kind of throw this thing, but now everything just kind of gets more and more, smaller in this subgenre to subgenre to subgenre. But I think that if it's making people think differently about the thing that they're creating, then good on them. Like for me as a listener, I'm just seeing how it relates to me. And, I always try and find something that I like in music that's playing, because in high school I was taking a keyboarding class. Um, and the instructor would only play like pop country. And I remember thinking to myself, like, if I don't find something that I can at least like hang with, I'm gonna fucking lose my shit, right? So, but now I'm a huge Tim McGraw fan, and the rest is history. So,
Yeah, I think at least for me, I was so out of like the subgenre labels. I think the I'm gonna call it like the realization or awakening moment was when we started the podcast and we had an idea to like find new bands that we were into. And I went on to, and I can't believe it still exists. I went on a pure volume and I went through the subgenres I would have gone through like 20 years ago.
yeah,
And I think it was like post-hardcore was one of the ones I listened to, and I pulled up. I'm like, this is not post-hardcore. None of these bands are how I'm expecting them to sound.
yeah.
And then I did it for another subgenre, and I'm like, this is also not what I expected. And it's that forever evolution. Jess, you're over there smiling.
It just
Nothing.
makes me think, because it's like I remember specifically like pure volume would like have like the three genres, right? Like separated by like slashes.
Yep.
So it's like, are we like an emo pop punk band, or a pop punk emo band, or a, like the
What's
great
first?
debates that we had trying to figure that whole thing out. But it really kind of just took working, in production and, in recording, to just kind of figure out like a good song is a good song, and everything else, could just is secondary to what it is that you're trying to say. So kind of when that, even if have some kind of aversion, towards something or against, or you can just listen to like what, try and boil it down to like what the foundation of the thing is. And if that's honest, I think that, like people that aren't into that side of the creation thing, just as fans, I think have like this subconscious knowing of like whether something is coming from a real place, or whether it's just like, 30 people credited to one song type thing, which, even in those instances, you can come up with something that feels real. So I think that's a part of the beauty of the continuation and evolution of music.
Now, you mentioned on Pure Volume you had those three descriptors with the two slashes. Let's go with the descriptor of punk goes pop, right? You
Hmm.
guys were involved in a bunch of those. How were those
Hmm.
experiences?
Oh yeah, I mean, like a lot of the stuff that we had been lucky to be a part of, a lot of it came from being fans first. So when we were asked to do one of them, and we were able to do "Hey Jealousy" by the Gin Blossoms, it was just one of the coolest things that we could be a part of, and we could contribute to it. And the craziest thing too now is like there's like those touch tune, like what do you call them, like jukeboxes, like at
Hmm.
like bars and stuff. And for some reason, "Hey Jealousy" is like on like a bunch of them. So like we'll go somewhere, and then like maybe it'll just like randomly play, or like somebody will walk over and like get it. But just being a fan of it first and then being like, holy crap, I can't believe that we got like another Punk Goes, you know, like it's the neatest thing in the world for sure.
Now, was it? I've heard rumors that there was like a select few songs you could kind of pick from, like it was kind of pre-selected.
I think the way that it worked was that like depending on like how, you know, like the big fish that they were trying to get for it would have first kind of pick of the batch of songs. And then as it dwindled, you know, like they'd be like, all right, open it up to this band, open up to this band. I think so, but I think we just got really lucky with, you know, Hey Jealousy, and then uh, also More Than a Feeling that we did too on the Punk Goes Classic Rock, I think is what it
Mhm.
was called. But
Miss those albums.
yeah, it's neat. I'm surprised that they're still not doing it. I mean, Fearless Records is still a thing, right?
I think that people have been trying to get them to bring them back. But
Yeah.
see, everyone does their own covers now.
Yeah. And I mean, you could have a million of them because there's like a million subgenres, right?
It's
So
true.
you,
They
I
need
mean,
like a volume one and two, like a
why aren't
double.
we
They
doing
should have to be a
marketing?
two disc.
Do you guys like want to start like a marketing firm and we could just get like, you know, contracts and tell these people what they're doing wrong? Because they're leaving money on the table, I feel.
Sure, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. I need to make some extra cash.
All right. All right. Setting up another Zoom for Monday.
It'd be at least sweet to get a bunch of those. Like, I know like compilation albums are kind of out, but to have like a Punk Goes vinyl now would be sweet.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. And, you know, compilations for us growing up was such a big thing prior to, you know, pure volume and even, you know, prior to mp3.com, which was a huge platform for us. That's like how, you know, I and, you know, us growing up were like able to discover bands, you know, was cheap punk compilations from like Epitaph and Fat Records, and you know they all had like their cheap uh compilation CD that you could go to like Sam Goody or NRM or like any of the now defunct record shops and like get for like $5, you know? And it's such a cool way of discovering a bunch of artists, you know, on a budget when you don't have, especially at that time, 18.99 to spend on one CD or something. It's like, cool, I can, you know, get three of these. I'm still paying less than I would for one CD. So
It's
just the
true.
whole compilation thing in general definitely needs to come back.
Yeah, I
See,
think it would be great if they brought them back. I mean, nowadays it's like playlists. Everyone
That's what
just
it
puts a
is. I mean,
playlist
yeah, you're
together.
right. That's what it is. The playlist is the new compilation, right?
It
Thank
is.
you. Thank you, algorithm gods, for shining down on us.
see, Jess, we should still make our own compilation vinyl of guests that we've had on.
I mean, I'm all for it. I just
There
gotta
we
find the funds. Vinyl's not cheap.
You guys are rolling in podcast money. Come on.
I
Come on.
wish.
Admit
Have
it.
we even gotten a
Admit
cent?
it.
No,
Not a penny.
this is definitely a passion project
We
The
for
we
us.
labor
haven't
of love,
haven't
right?
even
That
chased
too.
down sponsors.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep
Yeah,
at
we
it,
haven't had
man.
anyone want to sponsor us yet.
I'll tell you, I mean, it's just through like the repetition and showing up though that you show those people it's something, you know.
It's true.
What kind of sponsors are you looking for? Let's open this up. Let's
Anyone that'll
Anything.
have us.
yeah.
It seems AG1 will sponsor almost anybody.
Yeah. I think the name of the game is, you know, using something like gear wise and like being like, oh man, do you hear how great my voice sounds on this warm audio microphone? Yeah, exactly. Like
Like
blue,
this
right?
microphone, the
Yes.
microphone.
Yeah, is that
Yes.
like the Yeti or like yeah,
Yeah.
I mean your voice just sounds like just pristine
It's just
velvet
pristine, I know.
raining down from heaven. It's just like angels just peeing in my ears right now. And you could put that on a billboard.
Ah. Chris, you missed something when when you were away. We were talking about peeing in buckets and stuff.
Damn.
I thought that perhaps maybe your absence was attributed to like a bathroom emergency or something. And I was telling Jess, I was like, what happens if I need to pee during this? And she said, well, you're a guy, you could just do whatever you want. I said, yeah, maybe it's like I've got a bucket just right underneath here and I don't have to do anything. I'm focused, man. I'm in it to win it. I hope this becomes one of the longest podcasts that you guys have done. Like I'd
Oh,
like five-parter series maybe, that eventually this whole thing just turns into the Hit the Lights podcast or something. So
What
let's
was
see.
our
I'm in it. I'm in it to win it.
what was our longest, Jess?
our longest interview was like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Who was that with?
Why do I feel like it was Gina?
Gina was long. Wasn't the paleontologist long?
That one was really long.
Yeah.
They got a lot of information though. I mean, you really have to dedicate your life to a field like that. So
It was a really good conversation. So if you haven't listened to that one, you definitely should.
I'll
He
get to
calls
that
himself
one.
the pop punk paleontologist because he likes pop punk music. So
I love that. I
Except
definitely
his
will
favorite
check that
band
out.
is 3 Days Grace. So they're
Yes,
not
yes,
really
the
pop punk.
most genre-defining band of the scene. 3 Days Grace. What did they do? What did? Because I feel like any song I'm going to bring up is going to be Breaking Benjamin, which no shade
That's
to
like
either
the
of those
same. That's
bands.
probably the same genre. 3 Days
Yeah,
Grace, Breaking Benjamin. They're probably in that rock genre.
yeah, active rock, I think is what they called it at the time.
What are you looking up right now?
You
me,
looking up some
I
3 Days
couldn't
Grace?
name a single 3 Days Grace song off the top of my head.
Oh, so he's
What
No,
looking
did
I'm
you
up the
kidding.
find?
names.
I hate everything about you.
Oh yeah, that's
I
like
hate everything about you. Yeah, that's a good one.
uh,
Oh no, are you
yeah.
guys gonna get like a copyright infringement?
It wasn't 7 seconds. We're okay.
Okay.
We're good. We're
Well, hang
good.
on. Let me do the verse. No, but 3 Days Grace doesn't know the verse to that song. Okay.
Hey, you know what? I've talked to many singers, and sometimes they forget their own lyrics, so it happens.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, for sure. It's a lot. I was watching it was Bruce Springsteen's like Unplugged, MTV's Unplugged from like mid 90s or something. And like I noticed he had like a small little like karaoke monitor like on like the foot of the stage right next to like his like monitor speaker, and I was just like, yeah, I guess you'd kind of have to if you've literally written hundreds of songs, and like you'd need little reminders of that. I loved Joe saying that he wrote the first couple words
Mm-hmm.
to each song of like the set list, like of Hidden and Plain Views, songs, just so he'd have like a little bit of that spark. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to remember.
Yeah. So you have a sound Legacy Sound Studios and also Rust Gaze Records.
Yeah.
Now, how have those been going for you? We're speaking of songs and stuff, so I mean, you're doing work for other people.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's one of the coolest things that I was lucky to kind of stumble into. But and it really just kind of happened by accident. Like when I stopped touring, I moved back home and used that time to make up for lost time with like my folks and friends, and I got a job bartending and um booking music. And where we live, Lima, Ohio, um capacity for live music is really based in like cover acts and tribute bands and stuff like that. And a lot of it was just kind of like background noise for people drinking and like eating and stuff. And a lot of the artists that I was booking would kind of play something that I didn't recognize, that I'd be like, what is that? And they would say it was something that they wrote. And I was like, coming from our world, I was like, well, what are you going to do with it? And it's like, I don't know, like play it for my mom, like I guess play it to the backs of people's heads. And, like I realized that there was like, these kids that were like gigging covers, but also were very inspired and kind of coming up with their own stuff that didn't know what to do with it. And, just, kind of like in this flash, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's really neat because they found out about my past and my background, and they're like, when is it time for me to blow this popsicle stand like you did, And for us, we kind of had to do it because touring at the time was, it was a necessity. It was the only way that you could kind of build up these pockets where, this consistent revisiting and stuff, and hoping that each time, you did something the last time that would bring more people out. And when I kind of realized that, it was just kind of like, this area suffers from the coolest, most creative people leaving it to go to other places to try and pursue the thing that they think that they can't do here, right? So it was just kind of like, getting this vision of, what I should be doing like all at once. And, a lot of the people couldn't afford quote unquote like studio time and stuff. So it's like, cool, let just come in, let's hang out, let's get stuff down, and we'll figure out how somebody's going to pay for it, and that's where this mission really kind of got involved with, getting involved with our local chamber of commerce, getting involved with economic development, and being like, you guys are talking about revitalization of, like this town, but what is it that you're actually doing to draw attention to it? Because all like young promising people are leaving this area. So this is what we're doing is, nonprofit creative development to help these very talented people stay in their area, but we need that nourishment kind of, from the community. And we started putting on events with these different songwriters to where like the music was in the foreground, not just in the background. Started like in 50 cap rooms where like, people were forced to be in front of this band and kind of pay attention, and you just saw this feedback loop of like people being excited by the music. Now the music is, the musicians are being excited by the fact that people are reacting to them, and these people were creating things that I was a fan of, that I wanted to hear finished, so that was the main inspiration behind that thing. And it was also working with people that, I genuinely, know were good people that deserve that thing. And then, just kind of pointing the finger in the chest of, a lot of these people in those entities have been in those positions for years and not trying to do something new with it. And it's like, this is working. This is working in other places. You just showcase young people with fresh ideas doing cool things, like it's not rocket science. So we started in this abandoned office space that literally like had like no ventilation, like no plumbing. We were actually legitimately using buckets, right? Like wearing our winter coats in like the middle, of like winter, and like, created something that was so neat. One of the things that kind of blew my mind with like these different artists was like, especially coming from a place of punk rock where the community was the thing that motivated us, was like how these people are so fragmented apart from each other. And like when trying to find out why, it was like, well, that person took like my Thursday night gig at this place. And it was like, nah, that's small potatoes. Like people pay attention to a party, So we were able to kind of have this really cool, communal thing of people, that respected each other and the things that they were doing. And you could see that, enthusiasm just kind of like build across not just the artists, but the people that were coming to the shows and the events that we were putting on. And, somebody would turn to me and be like, hey, who does that song? Like when artist was playing, or, I'd be like, the, person up there at the microphone singing that song wrote that song. And you just see like their mind get blown, because in places, that don't have, smaller towns in the Midwest, especially, that like don't have like a professional sports team, it's hard to take pride in an area, you know? So people's expectations are very limited. And to be able to kind of change perception like that has been a really cool, incredible thing. So, that's how the studio initially started. And, it was kind of like, you know, these artists have this thing that's really incredible, the seed of something, but there's also, this whole other side of stuff that you need to be thinking about before thinking about abandoning your home and going to like a place like New York, Nashville, LA, or even Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, like in our case. And, if you can hone that thing and take your art seriously enough, like you would a 9 to 5, or like you would, um, you know, whatever is the thing that you care about, if you can really focus on that and pay attention, then you can have the tools to actually do something. And I think especially in like smaller places like this, the mentality when you're growing up and you're trying to talk to somebody that you have this inclination about doing this thing, it's usually met with like, that's pie in the sky, or like you need to be more practical. And just like my parents did with me when I said I was going to jump in a van with my buddies and self book our way across the US. But then I think that there's something to it that, like, you know if you have somebody to help kind of define what it is that you want to do with your life and not tell you that it's stupid, then you're going to have way better luck of trying to figure out that thing. And like I said, we were lucky to work with people um, that made me feel like that, and work with a couple people that didn't make me feel like that, that I knew that I wanted to not be like, like especially when you're in a vulnerable position like this, where you're trying to do something that you love, and document something in the most honest way. So, it was just a real blessing, like meeting a lot of these people, and, knowing, okay, this is what I'm going to do, is hang out here and, find these people. And, they come out of the woodwork, and, really excited about kind of expanding these programs into like schools, to like go to the different programs and be like, who's really interested in this thing? Who's somebody that wants to know more about this. And yeah, it's a really fun thing. And we've put out a lot of great music. And um, since the baby, I'm going to put it all the blame on the baby, but since the baby got here, there's been less sessions for that. But now that we're figuring out the routine of everything, jumping back in and kind of being able to develop those programs and kind of continue the work that we've been doing the last 10 years is super exciting.
Yeah. I love that you did that for your community.
Well, the funniest thing is like, typically, right, like all of, like, like the trope in like pop punk is like, fuck my hometown, oh, you'll see I'm gonna leave this place, and like, right, like is kind of like this trope. And then kind of coming back and like realizing, it's like home is legit what you make it. And
Hmm.
you know to throw yourself into a place where there's, like it's harder to do the thing that you love, here there's like this void of that thing. And I'm just like, this is so cool that, my wife and I have an opportunity to kind of build something that we want to be a part of. And, something that we typically would have to go out of town to kind of experience. To be able to do that here is really special and really rewarding. And, talent comes from everywhere, right? Like, and the most gut wrenching thing is probably most of the best songs you'll never hear, because the artist was never motivated in a way to get that thing out there. And I think for me, like that, just like, that potential being wasted is just the scariest thing. And I think, because I think of that within myself, and I want that from other people too, like,
Hmm.
so that's a huge kind of, that's a lot of the fuel in the gas tank of that thing. And yeah, love it. Shout out to Logan Ross. Shout out to Jasmine Gore, DL Burden. Shout out to Caitlin Schmidt. All these fantastic artists from, this area. Kevin Ashba. And if you guys want to find out more about it, just check out rusgaysrecords.com. Thank you for letting me rant.
No worries. No worries. We're
Appreciate
used to
that.
some rants, right, Chris?
Yeah, some rants. No,
It
we
happens.
we've had our fair share of rants.
Good, good.
Way
I'm in good
longer than
company.
yours. Way
I'm
longer than
in
yours.
I'm in good company, man. You guys have a really great podcast and are talking to some really cool
Oh,
people.
well, we
So
love hearing that we have a great podcast, right, Chris?
Yeah, we try
We try.
occasionally.
keep it going. Keep it going.
Now, Jess had mentioned earlier about her going to Warp Tour this past weekend. Now, you guys played Warp Tour. I think it was '05, 6, and 9. How were those experiences?
Yeah. Um, the first Warped Tour that we played, we had won like an Ernie Ball contest and got to do like a set on their stage. And I don't think any of us were really expecting that much from it. But like the Ernie Ball stage is in Cincinnati was like right next to like the main stage. And I remember we were like setting up and there was like nobody in front of us. And it was just kind of like, okay, like this is awesome. We're here, right? Like we made it, you know? And it was like Tiger Army just got done playing on the main stage. And we just watched this just huge just cluster of people just shift over in front of our stage. It was like, all right, you're on. And it was just like, oh my God, this is absolutely mind-blowing. And that that just was so incredible. And luckily, we were able to talk to people that then got us on one-offs, different Warp Tours the next year. And then I believe the next time we did Warp Tour, we did 2 weeks of it on like the West Coast and Southwest. And then the next time that we did it, we were able to do the whole thing. And that thing was just such a foundation of the scene for years. And to be able to be a part of that thing again, it's like being a fan of this thing, growing up, wanting, dreaming to be a part of it, and finally being there. It's just like a very pinch me moment. And still feel like that. Like I hope that we get to play Warp Tours next year. Like I'm sad we weren't on this year. But it's a real cool like accomplishment that when you kind of get there, it just feels like a very like pinch me moment.
Now, how did, from your perspective, how did you see Warp Tour change through the years, and what are your thoughts on kind of what it's become now?
I would say at a certain point, just kind of using just music or the scene or like in general, there's I remember there's like a point where feeling like resistance to things that were like scaring and confusing to me. That was just kind of like I have to let go of that and just kind of realize that the ultimate goal is just kind of the evolution of this thing. And whatever changes are going to happen is because it's necessary. Like we saw the same thing from people buying records to like Napster and LimeWire, and being told, oh, like, well, that's what is affecting sales right now. And like there's always going to be excuses, there's always going to be like certain like roadblocks that people will use to justify whatever is happening. So I mean, like, I think that just the fact that it's continuing and that there are people that are so interested that it's to justify it happening is like the coolest thing, right? Like, so whether it's just like, a band signing to a label that I grew up loving and being like, well, why did they sign them? Or like, like where like the evolution of like what concerts are now and stuff like that. I realize it's like, no, you just have to let it go. You just kind of have to just appreciate that there's a platform that allows it to still be alive and available to a whole new generation of people that had no idea this thing was even there, that might be the thing that they just really appreciate and love and gets them out of bed in the morning or something. So I'm just happy it's still around, and I'm hoping that we can continue being a part of it.
Yeah,
Never know.
and it's
Next
funny
year.
Never know. We'll see.
you
We'll
mentioned
see.
you mentioned the physical records, and then it went to like Napster and LimeWire. And then of course then it's all streaming. But what about like this huge physical resurgence, right? Because now
Exactly.
vinyl is the number one selling version of physical.
I love it. I mean, cassettes too, like that doing something people, you know, I think that it was such like a cool cyclical thing that people were like away from that when the concept of the physicality of music was introduced, people were excited about it like it was something new almost, you know? But growing up going to shows, that was always my favorite thing, you know, was being able to have a piece of this thing and kind of comb over every word in the insert and, you know, find out about new bands from other bands that I liked, thank yous, you know, like their thank you sections and like liner notes, and see who that band's booking agent was and see like who produced that record, and you know, small things like that just kind of make it less fleeting than listening to it for 30 seconds on like a streaming platform, you know. um and the fact too that, you know, it actually helps a band continue doing what they're doing too is such a neat thing, you know. And for me, I think that that was also part of it. And you know, for people to be able to have that physicality of it and for that resurgence to kind of be there, it's like right time, right place for these artists that are trying to go out there and survive doing it.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's my go-to is vinyl. Not that you can see them back there, but they're back there somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Oh
around.
yeah.
I don't have any in my
They're around.
bedroom, sorry. They're in my living
How
room.
dare you?
I did move
How
Britney
dare
Spears from
you?
the
And you
front.
call
Actually, I take
yourself,
that back. I have one that's on my wall.
which is,
It's Bayside.
oh,
It's
which
like right
record?
here. You
Which
can't really
record?
see it that well, but it's right there.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I see it. I
Right
see
under
it.
my ticket stubs.
Is it like a, is it like a clear vinyl?
It is. It's clear.
Yeah.
It's clear and it's on my white wall, so it's hard to see.
But you know it's there.
I know it's
And that's
there.
all that matters.
Well, my husband and I, our wedding song was a Bayside song.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why it was that it's that record. That's why it's on the wall.
I love that. Bayside was another band that I discovered on mp3.com that the band that eventually turned into Hit the Lights got to play with them in one of their original lineups. And already being like a fan already, and they're coming through, you know, Wapakoneta, Ohio at the YMCA gym, you know, and like us getting to play with them is like a huge deal, you know.
Right.
Fast forward to, um, let me think about this, 2002, like 2006, maybe. We're playing with Bayside and Halifax, you know, on like a full US tour. And it's just like, you guys don't remember this, but we played with you at, you know, in Wapakoneta, and like, oh hell yeah, we remember that. Like talking to Anthony, it's like, okay, cool, this is neat, you know, this is exciting that we're still in the mix.
That's funny you said Halifax. We recently got a message from Kevin that used to be in Halifax.
Okay,
Him and Mike
okay,
started a new band.
that's cool. So they're,
So
so they're not trying to relive their glory years. They're
they
saying
started a new
fresh.
band, but let me tell you, I listened to the new record and it's got some Halifax feel to it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I remember like the first, because like they had like the EP, and like I would see him play like with like this band called the Goodwill from Long
Oh
Island.
yeah, the Goodwill. I
And
remember them.
you remember the Goodwill? Yeah,
Yeah,
like I
I
remember seeing
interviewed them a
them.
long time ago. I forget who it was I interviewed, but I
Oh
interviewed someone from them, from that
gosh,
band
there's like this
back in
scene
the
of
day.
bands like, you know, like them, like Unsung Zeros was like another one. There's the Strider from Long Island that we'd like go see as kids, and they were, you know, maybe a couple years older than we were, but seeing bands like that, they're like out and doing it was just so inspiring. Because it's like, not if these guys could do it, we can, but it's like because they're doing it, we, you know, have the, you
Right.
know, have this inspiration to do it because it's not something that's unfeasible, you know.
Do you remember the band The Goodwill, Chris?
No.
No? Oh.
Nope.
They're
I'm gonna have
really
to
cool.
send you some of their songs.
But yeah, I remember. Well, I remember Halifax had like the CP, and then the first full length on Drive Through is very like kind of 80s hair metal, hair rock kind of inspired,
Hmm.
like very Motley Crue. Is this new band kind of along those lines?
I
Like,
can send you a link to them
yeah,
afterwards so you
please
can get a
do.
feel for what they're sounding like.
Please do. It's not like a Google Drive, right? You're not going to get in trouble
No, no,
for
no.
leaking
No, they
demos.
have a song that's released.
What's the name of the band?
Great Danes.
That's a cool band name. I like that. I really enjoy that.
But
No,
I'm
thank
trying to
you for
get
the
Chris to listen
recommendation.
to them so we can decide if we want to have them on. But I'm pretty sure I'm decided that I want to
And
have them
Chris
on. Just
notoriously does not like to take any of your recommendations, right?
nah,
That's
he
the
That's
trusts me
not
most of
true.
the
I do
time.
trust you. It's you that doesn't trust me with the music recommendations because I know if I pitch one more female fronted band, you're gonna lose your shit.
Hey, you know
dude.
what? I don't care anymore.
I
Woo!
love
I
this. I
want
love this. I love
something.
just shit starting and then like peace, y'all. Okay, have a good talk amongst yourselves.
No,
Now we get into this all the time.
there's been bands we disagree on, but if one of us is passionate about it, we'll have them on anyway.
It's
So
true. It's true.
Because
With the
it's
other one,
hey,
just kind of grins and bears it because
that's
they're
teamwork.
like,
So
I'm not really into them.
which one of you are grinning and bearing this conversation is what I want to know.
Neither of
both of
us.
us. Oh,
Uh,
He
thank
says
you.
both of
Thank
us.
you
I
for
say
that.
neither of us.
no, I
You guys are
listen.
always finishing each other's
Sentences.
sandwiches.
Yeah, they yep. Um no, if I find time to listen to them, you know I will.
Yeah.
I'm also the person who before a show comes up, I'm on Setlist FM
Yeah.
looking it up and I want to know that and I want to like memorize it. And I've got how many shows this week, Jess?
Yeah.
Four?
I don't know.
Um
You're the bigger concert goer than I am, so
yeah.
See, I mean, that's cool. Like, kind of looking forward, like, oh, they played this one or they didn't play that one. On the other side of that, too, there's something kind of neat about going to a show and like hearing a song that you're like, I need to know what this song is, kind of thing. But the downside about that is like, unless like you kind of like record like a snippet of it or something, like, you might never find that song. It just might be like this fleeting thing that you're always chasing, which I feel like there's some beauty to that as well.
yeah. Well, I have a question though.
What's that?
Speaking of like tours and everything, I heard you played during Cartel's anniversary tour at one point.
Are you saying about their last like this last Chroma tour?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. So
you
they
stood in for someone.
so me playing with Cartel, like me
Yes.
personally. Our guitar player Kevin, um his 9 to 5 is basically like being like a hired gun with bands, right? So he plays this incredible band actually from Rochester, New York called Joywave, right? And like that being his 9 to 5, like we would have hit the light stuff come up and you'd be like, guys, I can't do it, I've got to the old ball and chain over here, got to bring home the bacon. And so we've had like buddies fill in for Kevin, and Kevin actually played bass for Cartel for that whole tour.
Okay, so it was Kevin that
So it
played
was
bass.
Kevin that played, and fuck you to Kevin for going out with Cartel and not going out with his band, but please don't do the thing where you guys only clip that, right? For like for the reels. But no, no, it's like we totally understand. I think that if any of us had the opportunity, we would have taken that over, you know, hit the light shows any day.
I mean, what a fun thing to do though is like
Oh
stand
yeah.
in for Cartel on an anniversary tour.
Oh
Like,
no, for freaking sure, man. Like, we've been like watching like the videos and stuff, and like a bunch of friends have made it to like the shows. Dave got to go see them, and Dave, our bass player, got to go see them in Detroit and stuff. So it's
Yeah, I
like,
forget who it was, but they said it was you, and I was like, I don't know. I looked back at like some pictures from the tour, and I don't recognize Omar on
yeah,
stage.
yeah, yeah, that's not him. No, that's yeah, Kevin on bass for Cartel. And I think, you know, if anything, we were just like, man, I wish we could have been there. But then Kevin would have had to pull double duty on that booty, and that's probably why we didn't get the tour. So Kevin only wanted to play one set. Again, tongue in cheek, being I didn't get any reaction from you guys on that. So
So
but
one thing that we do like knowing, any crazy stories from the road or while you were playing a show that you could share with us? Anything that really stands out, like, wow, what did I just witness?
I mean,
Back in the day, for sure.
there's there's been just I mean just every show has something, and like there was a time like when we were going out, 9 months out of the year, and every show had something crazy happen. Um, and one of the things that like we do whenever like we get together and we start getting nostalgic, and it's like, different people bringing up different scenarios or like different things that happen, and either people won't remember it or they'll remember it differently. And it's like before all of our minds completely like go to like mashed potatoes, like we need to like document some of this stuff, right? Like it's so because like there's so many of them. People remember ones that other people don't or remember them differently. And I would say one of the wildest things that we ever got to experience, man, I'll say, okay, I've got three of them. If we got time for three of them, right? Um, on that Bayside Halifax tour, I remember we played San Diego at Soma, and our tour manager at the time, or not our tour manager, our legit manager, used to tour manage Newfound Glory, and he said, "Hey, some of the guys might show up to the show tonight." And we were just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, cool, dude. Like, why would you get our hopes up like that? And we were playing, and I remember, I mean, we were hanging out in the back room. I remember one of the Bayside dudes walking in and was just like, uh, Cyrus and Jordan from Newfound Glory are here. And like all of us kind of like tensing up and then just being like, oh yeah, they're here for us. And hanging out with them after the show, we like went back to like their house, went back to like their neighborhood bar and stuff like that. And Jordan was like going through his iPod and was just like, "Do you know this band? Do you know this band?" And he's like, "You should take that. You should take that." And like ripping stuff off of his iPod that I still have to this day, which is really neat. But I remember sitting there in that moment, having like this moment of being like, "Oh my God," like, me, you know, let alone, me from like high school me or like, middle school me, should be pinching, be pinching themselves. It's like me from last week, is like, losing their shit. Um, that was a really cool moment. And then just kind of getting to know those guys and getting to tour with them after that. And they took us over to the UK for the first time. And, we got to do dates here in the US and we got to go to Australia with them. But like kind of having that thing of just loving something so much, that meant so much to you. And then just like knowing the dudes like it's nothing, I think
Hmm.
was such a cool experience. Um, we got to play X Games one year, and it was in Aspen, and that was insane because of just like this like white glove treatment that like we got flying into Aspen. You know, somebody holding a sign that said "Hit the lights," us going to like this condo, and then playing on like the side of a mountain during like a snowstorm, while Sean White like broke like some world record, like just going down this like huge hill that they had set up and stuff. Um, and specifically about that I like to bring up in relation to our guitar player Kevin is he had just like emptied his life savings to buy this beautiful vintage Les Paul. And all of us were telling him like, hey man, like maybe you shouldn't play that like for this gig, we're going to be outside, it's going to be cold, like, I don't know what the weather is going to be doing. And he's like, no man, he's like, there's no way that I'm going to like not play this guitar for this gig, like we're going to be on espn.com, like you're like we're going to be like on espn and like, we're going to be on tv, like I have to play this guitar. And it was like towards the beginning of the set, we start playing, and he goes to do like some rock star move of like jumping up like on the monitor, which everything was covered in ice, by the way. He slips off the monitor, right? Like the first thing to hit the ground was like the head of his guitar, and like in slow motion, I just see like one of the tuning pegs like flying across my field of vision, and just like in that split instance, I was like, "I told you so, man. We all told you so." But that was nuts. And then another wild thing that I'd put in my top three would be being able to go to Japan as much as we did, and connecting with people over there, and having this really incredible label that would bring us over there and book these incredible shows, but would also, as incentive for kids to buy like tickets to, let's say like a batch of the shows that we were playing. They would be able to do like these really cool like meet and greets with us that weren't just like at the shows. Like they would go to like temples with us, or we'd go like bowling, and these like bonds that we made with people, we couldn't speak their language, they couldn't speak ours, but like these like lifelong bonds that kind of developed because of that was such a cool thing to experience, on the other side of the world. Just that thing by itself would have been crazy enough, but there was just like this whole added blanket of coolness that we were really lucky to be able to experience. So I'd put those things kind of, and just being able to travel overseas in general, make it so far away from home and connect with people that connected with our music, I think is just some of the mind-blowing experiences that we were really lucky to experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard Japan is really nice.
Yeah,
I've never been.
still one of my favorite places in the world. The
Maybe
people.
someday I'll get there.
Let's do it, man. Hey.
Okay, if you're taking me with you.
So first step, garbage plate, Syracuse. Step two, Tokyo, Japan.
Yep. All right.
You
I'll
get
go.
baby steps. It's all baby steps, right? You
Give
go
me a
learn
job. Give me a job. I'll go.
No, that would be so neat for us to go back there. I really hope that it happens. So Masa, if you're watching or if you're listening, I'm calling you out, bro. I'm calling you out. Maybe we can get like bring Hit the Lights back to Japan. I don't know, message board going. How do people communicate nowadays?
I feel like you'd be on like Reddit or Discord nowadays. So
You are hired. There you go.
Reddit or Discord. But we have one final question for you, and this one may or may not be easy to answer now that you're a father, or maybe you've just always, been into this. But what is your favorite dinosaur?
I was told that there wouldn't be any like gotcha journalism questions.
I told no such thing.
I was specifically told by management, and
Well,
they're
your
going to get a
manager's
very
telling you
stern. They're
fibs.
going to get a very stern email because I said we need to really avoid controversial subjects. Because I have opinions, man. I've got lots
Yeah.
of opinions, and a lot of people don't agree with them. Um, I would say that if you would have asked me at 6 years old, I would have said Triceratops. But just being a little older and a little wiser, it would have to be a pterodactyl, man. It would have to be a pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl. We get a lot of pterodactyls. I would think everyone wants to fly.
Yeah, I think that's it. You want to be like a prehistoric bat with,
Although, do you know pterodactyls like there's birds nowadays, so those are the, dinosaurs nowadays, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to use that argument, then you can
Chris
be
is
like,
laughing
there,
at me
there are
right now.
rhinocerosies, like which I feel is like,
There
the
was
new
a dinosaur
school,
that was
the
a
new
rhinoceros
school
that looks just like a
Triceratops.
rhinoceros, actually.
Yeah,
I think so, right, Chris? There's a dinosaur that looks
And it
like a
wasn't a
rhino.
triceratops?
This is your hill to stand on. I'm not aware
It's
of this
my hill to
dinosaur.
stand
This
on.
is your hill to die on.
I don't know. Maybe Joe, our paleontologist, can tell me or not.
Oh
He's
my.
listening to the end of this episode right now, and he's like, "What the heck is she talking about?"
He's like, these fools! Of course, it's, some obscure. If he's like into like pop punk bands, do you think that he's like the same way, like with his like paleontology? Like, it'd be like him saying that like Good Charlotte's his favorite pop punk band, right? Like, saying that Triceratops is your favorite dinosaur.
Is Chris looking this up right now?
I can't find one.
You can't find a dinosaur that looks like a rhino? Come on, there has to be like one. I guess I
You
just
said there was
don't.
a flying dinosaur that looked like a rhino.
No, I did not. I was not talking about a flying one. I was saying how
No, rewind it. This
Guys,
is
I
where we're gonna
actually have
rewind
the
it.
paleontologist in the waiting room ready to come in. So if with your blessing, I would love to bring them on. And
all right, bring him in now.
all right,
I'm calling your bluff.
This is some Jerry Springer type. Guess who we've got in the other room?
well, we actually have. Funny you should mention that because we actually have. Come on out. That's how you guys get ratings, right? That's how you get
Yeah,
ratings. That's how you get sponsors.
yeah. You are the father, Chris. No, just kidding.
Dad? I
Oh.
Or
see the
you are not
resemblance.
the father.
I see the resemblance.
Chris is old enough
I'd
to
be
be
lucky to have you
my
as my
brother.
father, Chris. I'd be so lucky to have you as my father.
We probably have what, like a few months between us, is my guess.
Yeah. I'd say I'm probably a couple years older than you, so I don't get, the the physics of the whole thing doesn't really make sense, but
I said this once before, and I'm old enough to be Chris's sister, so. And he's like, "What?"
that's funny. I like that. I'm going to use that.
The funny thing is, she actually is the same age as my sister.
That's the funny thing. That's why I think I said it the first time because we were talking about his sister and how she's my age, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm old enough to be your sister."
I love that. Well, especially if like you're trying to get somebody to like listen to what you're saying. Like, hey, I'm old enough to be your brother. Like, you need to listen. It's such a dumb thing to say. I love it.
I guess the
Incredible.
Triceratops is the closest thing to a rhinoceros nowadays.
All right. What a perfect way to end this podcast. Just flash. Omar's right.
Omar is right. Omar is right. I will
Always.
admit when I'm wrong, hey,
Always. No, I pulled that
but
out of my butt. I'm sorry. I am not a paleontologist. I'm not sure what my resume read for you guys, but
who
contrary to popular
knows?
belief, I am not a
Who
paleontologist.
knows when the last time Wikipedia was updated?
Yeah. Oh my God. My God.
You just
Or
never
what it
know, right,
even
Chris?
says. Yeah.
When's the last time you Googled yourself?
Uh, are you talking about before this interview or during?
Before.
Because that's now I've got notifications up. It'll ding and let me know if there's something new.
Chris is gonna update your Wikipedia.
I know that's what I was. That's where I felt you guys were going with that.
Amateur paleontologist.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit. Hey, I'm gonna hit the pro circuits next year, though. God willing, the right training.
You never
That's
know.
how it works, right?
You never know. Our paleontologist did get into didn't he get into paleontology because of like music or something like that?
No, that was the other.
The
Now
other
we
one.
now we
You
got
guys have
someone
had two
explaining the
paleontologists.
yeah.
I didn't realize that this was such a science forward podcast, but
It wasn't originally, and then we got this idea of like, you know what? Let's have on some other types of guests. People that have other fields they're into, but are
yeah,
also still into music.
I love it. I
Yeah, the
think it's
one
great.
the one paleontologist is really into metal, and so he was saying like a lot of the album artwork was very bones. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like,
I mean Mastodon, right? That's
right?
probably
Yep.
what
Yep.
that's if you trace it back to one point is probably them, right? Like that got them started in paleontology.
It's true. It's true. He has a whole book with different album art that was, based off of dinosaurs and paleontology related stuff.
I love that. That's my favorite genre of metal is prehistoric metal.
Well, on that note, maybe we should cut
No,
this.
no, we can't
we
end it
could
like
keep
that. We
going.
can't end it like that. That was the dumbest thing I said. No. No, I really appreciate you guys. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we're glad you had fun. Is there anything you want to add before we do cut recording?
Just check out Tomorrow's Gonna Hurt. Released now wherever you stream music. Follow our socials to know when we're gonna be in your hood. Shoot us a message. Let us know. First time listener. Let us know if you dig it. Let us know if you hate it. Let us know where we can improve, not only as musicians and as a band, but just as human beings, because I think that we're all, searching for growth. Yeah, check out rustgazerecords.com. And if you are looking to, any kind of collab, whether it's music production, co-writing, anything like that, hit us up over here at Legacy Sound Studios.
Yeah. Do all those things, everyone.
Do everything by the book, and especially continue listening to the Jam XP podcast. So
yes, and continue to listen to us for sure.
And update all the wikis.
Always watch your wiki page too, just in case there's some rascal out there that's trying to spread lies and slander on you.
It is true. I have come across some crazy things and I'm just like, what? But thanks so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. And yeah, I'll see you in Milwaukee then.
Yeah, for sure. Come on, come hang out. Chris, if you can get away for a couple days too, man, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, Chris, come to Milwaukee.
I have maybe.
Good.
It's in December.
Let's keep it. Yeah, it's only like 10 days away. Oh my God, I need to start rehearsing. I need to start practicing. I got a lot of YouTube guitarists I gotta watch. So.
All right. Thanks for coming on. We'll end it there.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for everything. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep.